Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our next summer episode of Tide 10. Tide, also known as the Investment Diversity Exchange, which connects movers and shakers to promote diversity and inclusion across investments and asset classes, and is aimed at highlighting a diverse set of industry professionals, their firms, and their important contributions to society. I'm Priscilla Guevara, head of capital formation and investor relations at Science, a Los Angeles-based startup studio and early stage venture fund. Joining me today is Cruz, who is a member of Canterbury's research group, responsible for sourcing, due diligence, and evaluating private equity managers. He also serves on Canterbury's Global Equity and Private Equity Manager Research Committee. He holds a couple graduate degrees in economics and previously contracted as an economist for the Department of Homeland Security. Very impressive, Christian. How are you doing today?
Doing well, Priscilla. How are you?
I'm doing very well here in Southern California. So when Grace had introduced us a few months ago, just prior to the shutdown, we had our first meeting over coffee at Porto's, where you also helped me load my car with pastries for a family party. I had very little knowledge, though, of Canterbury. However, Canterbury is a very reputable independent investment advisory firm managing $24 billion in assets and headquartered out of Orange County. So perhaps we can dive right into Canterbury's work for those who might not be familiar. Canterbury Consulting has a really meaningful mission behind how it operates. Its tagline, "We focus on your investments so you can focus on your mission." Can you share with us about your niche serving endowments and foundations and how you all support those missions?
So first off, as a firm, we are dedicated to ensuring that our clients can fully focus on their underlying mission to serve their communities and causes, but we focus on their investments, just as you mentioned previously. So as an organization, we genuinely care about the nonprofit community, and this has been embedded in the firm's DNA and culture for more than 2 decades. And on the topic of how we serve our institutional endowment and foundation clients, we provide customized investment solutions tailored to each client. We spend a great deal of time getting to know each client and their underlying mission on a personal basis so that we can provide advice best suited for them. And we feel a great deal of responsibility and are dedicated to provide our clients with the best solution and outcome, whether it be providing an optimal portfolio, whether it be negotiating fee discounts with our managers or building out a customized feeder vehicle to reduce cost and minimize administrative burden on our clients. So it's really all for our clients' benefit and to the benefit of the cause they represent. And additionally, our organization, we're not made up of, we're not a large organization in that we have thousands of clients and manage hundreds of billions of dollars. We're a fairly small organization made up of a couple hundred clients. And so we're able to take a more engaged approach with our clients and provide them with the best possible client experience, whether it be on the administrative side or on the investment research side.
Well, I'm personally a big fan of philanthropic work and the positive impact that it provides to our broader community. Can you expand on the types of organizations and why Canterbury focuses its work on these kinds of organizations?
Our endowments and foundations that we work with, they're mainly religious organizations, museums, libraries, various community foundations, educational endowments, and healthcare endowments. And on the reason why we work or focus our time with these organizations is that we realize that there's an inherent need to provide unconflicted advice to the nonprofit community. And nonprofits already are constrained and limited and have a limited amount of resources and a fairly small budget, operating budget, and partnering with an advisor, that has the client's best interest in mind, through an advisory fee structure. There's a void that still needs to be filled to this day. And especially given today's investment environment and the myriad of complex investment options out there, this need still exists. And as mentioned just a few moments ago, Canterbury's culture of genuinely caring for the local community and helping our clients serve the community is the hallmark of what we stand for as an organization. And so throughout the year, in addition to working with our endowment and foundation clients, we engage in various volunteer activities ourselves, whether it be volunteering at our local food bank, volunteering at our clients' charitable events, or even inviting local charities into our office to learn more about their cause and their mission.
And to dive in further, the research capabilities that you and Canterbury provide your clients with are a huge advantage. This morning, I was on a Financial Times webinar focused on the economics of a pandemic, where we discussed monetary policy and where the economy is going. And it was highlighted that we're living in this pendulum period. So in your latest research, what's your take on COVID-19's impact as it relates to PE?
So there are three things that we really honed in on. Some of the key takeaways that we noticed was fundraising. So we've noticed a lot of managers have done two things. They've either advanced their fundraising timeline or they've extended their fundraising timeline by 2 or 3 quarters. And the reason why some of these managers are advancing their timeline is because they have identified unique opportunity sets to invest in fundamentally undervalued companies, especially in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. And they want capital ready to deploy. So they're advancing their timeline in hopes of being able to obtain the necessary capital to take advantage of these opportunities. And there's also an underlying concern given the current market environment, and fund managers are seeking out capital earlier than expected, so that they don't run into any roadblocks, when fundraising does start to slow down from an LP standpoint. And for the managers that have been pushing their fundraising timelines out 2 or 3 quarters, this is because of the underlying environment and how many LPs are reconsidering capital deployment into private equity and are not as enthusiastic about the private equity market right now, and are halting their private equity program or investing activities until at least early to mid 2021. And then also we've noticed on the private equity transaction side, the volume of private equity transactions have come to a halt pretty much in connection with the sharp decline in public markets and the subsequent worldwide lockdowns. And so there's been a lot of difficulty in transacting in the marketplace, mainly because buyers and sellers have struggled to come to terms on valuations due to the difficulty of projecting forward revenue and EBITDA, with the ultimate impact of COVID yet to be determined. So very much just a lack of visibility in terms of the valuations, the forward valuations for many of the companies that private equity fund managers are pursuing. And some of these deals were already in their late stages, but they did pause on closing these deals, mainly because they wanted to re-underwrite these deals to reflect more realistic valuations. And then also, thirdly, on the private equity secondary market, there has been a large slowdown in secondary deal activity, with portfolio buyers walking away from deals that are about to close. And secondary buyers also want to see or wait and see until Q2 valuations before executing any transactions. They want to be able to re-underwrite these deals to reflect the true impact of COVID-19 and the stay-at-home measures. And we also anticipate seeing a significant wave of selling activity in the late summer and early Q3 as LPs are seeking to rebalance the illiquid part of their portfolio and shift investment strategy, especially the larger pension funds and sovereign wealth funds that, especially the sovereign wealth funds that are tied to the oil markets or are, have a significant over allocation to private equity. And so those are the three areas that we noticed in the private equity market in terms of fundraising, transaction volume, and the secondary market.
Sure. I mean, it's no question that we're in uncertain economic times right now. So given your added strong role in diligence, how should LPs approach PE and VC investing?
While I won't go so far as to provide direct advice as to which sectors to target or invest in, we do advise our clients to remain consistent in their private equity basing. We're not attempting to time the market in any way, but rather recommend remaining consistent. And so referencing some of the recent in-house research that we've conducted on this topic, we noticed that private equity funds that were raised during a market downturn experienced more success overall than funds that were raised prior to a downturn. So it's really taking a longer term approach to private equity investing is what I'm trying to get at. We're not trying to recommend when they should invest in private equity or when they should get out, but rather it should be more of a long-term orientation in private equity investing, just maintaining that overall consistency. Because we don't have a crystal ball, obviously, and we can't predict when the next downturn will happen or when the next recovery or expansion will take place. And we've also noticed from our research that there's that investors who halted their private equity investing in the years following a downturn underperformed those investors that continue to deploy consistently. And so really it's really the data shows that remaining consistent in private equity investing is really key to managing the ebbs and flows that do take place when investing in this asset class.
This is a fascinating conversation, Christian. I really appreciate your intellect and thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you want to share before we close out?
That's it on my end, but I do want to take this time to thank Tide for the opportunity to share Canterbury's approach to serving endowments and foundations, and for the opportunity to share my insights on the current private equity environment. So thank you all very much.
I echo your appreciation, and thank you, Christian. Thank you again to Tide and Grace Reyes for allowing us this opportunity. We cannot wait until we all reconvene in person soon in Southern California. Take care.